my friends, and welcome back. Today we are diving into more arcane knowledge, but specifically the mysteries of Hextech. What it is, how it works, and why it's not just some cool tech, but a potential time bomb waiting to go off in Arcane. And who better to illustrate this than Viktor, who's on one of the most intense journeys in Piltover. We'll talk about Viktor's experiences with Hextech, his clashes with Jace, and how his risky decisions may shape Arcane in Season 2. So, let's dive right in. So what exactly is Hextech? In the simplest of terms, it's Piltover's revolutionary fusion of magic and science, spearheaded by Jace, who figured out how to harness the power of magical realms using science. Hextech is fueled by runes, magical symbols that each have their own ability, which Jace has managed to capture in a series of crystallized devices. Now enter Viktor, Jace's brilliant partner with his own vision for Hextech. Viktor doesn't just see Hextech as an energy source, he thinks it could become something living, something that learns and adapts. This idea hits him in a pretty wild way when his blood drips onto the runes at the Hex Gates, giving him a mysterious vision. Now inspired, Viktor believes that the Arcane speaks through Hextech and might even be able to evolve like a living creature. So, if you will, imagine Hextech as a mage that can adapt to any situation with potentially limitless abilities. It's kind of crazy, right? So, in order to make his vision happen, Viktor starts developing something totally next level, and it's called the Hex Core. This is what he calls an adaptive rune matrix, an evolving form of Hextech that could change the way Piltover understands magic and technology. However, here's where it gets risky. Viktor's experiments keep failing, and he's putting everything on the line to get this to work. He's working so hard that he eventually collapses in the lab. If you aren't familiar with Arcane or League of Legends, I do have to note that there is an additional layer there. Viktor's not just experimenting for the thrill of it or to gain further knowledge. He is terminally ill, and he sees the Hex Core as his last chance of survival. But his partner Jace is now deep in his new role as counselor, dealing with politics more than inventions. Viktor is frustrated that Jace's priorities are shifting. When Jace suggests getting Heimerdinger's help with the Hex Core, Viktor hesitates, but they give it a try anyway. And of course, what happens? Heimerdinger is horrified and insists that they destroy the Hex Core immediately. Jace starts to pull away from Viktor's work, even moving to remove Heimerdinger from the council to protect the research. But Viktor isn't ready to stop. Desperate, he turns to Singed, an eccentric scientist from the Undercity, who offers him a vial of Shimmer to help his body accept the Hex Core's transmutations. So Viktor decides to ingest Shimmer, which helps his body adapt to the Hex Core's transformative powers. His theory? If he can use the Hextech to evolve his body, he could finally escape his illness. His first transformation is an intense one. His crippled leg becomes a powerful, functioning robotic limb, allowing him to walk and run without his cane. It is a huge win for Viktor. Feeling empowered, Viktor begins transforming more of himself, but it's a dark path. He's hiding his experiments from Jace, who has his own prejudices against the Undercity, and is starting to lose trust in Viktor. Their friendship is very quickly unraveling, and Viktor is moving further into dangerous territory, relying solely on himself. Now, things take an extremely tragic turn when Viktor's assistant Skye walks in on him during one of his experiments. As Viktor loses control, the Hex Core consumes her, absorbing her life force to power his transformation. Viktor is left shattered by her death, realizing the horrifying cost of his ambition. Luckily though, Skye's death is a wake-up call. He finds notes where she had admired him all along, inspiring her to make the world better. So, Viktor tries to destroy the Hex Core, but he can't do it. The Hex Core shocks him, almost as if it has a will of its own, refusing outright to let go of Viktor. Now, with everything we've seen, Viktor's story in Season 2 could go to some dark directions. Hextech is ever evolving, but so is Viktor, and the boundaries between magic and machine are blurring. The rift between Jace and Viktor could become a full-blown conflict. If the Hex Core keeps growing, it may push Viktor to make even riskier choices, leading to something potentially catastrophic. There's also a chance that the Hex Core's growth could cause rifts in the boundaries between realms. If the Void, the most dangerous of all realms, gets involved, Piltover could face an apocalyptic threat. Viktor's vision for Hextech might have consequences that neither he nor Jace could have ever predicted. Viktor's drive to push Hextech further may lead to breakthroughs, but it might also create the biggest threat Piltover has ever seen. Hextech's potential healing properties are an area Viktor is deeply interested in, not only for himself, but for those suffering in the Undercity. And if Viktor manages to harness Hextech's power to heal and even regenerate the damaged bodies, he might end up with a sense of godlike hubris, as if he's found the way to reshape life itself. But the stakes go beyond his own health. For the people in the Undercity, this kind of Hextech breakthrough could be life-changing. Those suffering from Shimmer addictions or bearing painfully grotesque tumors caused by the Shimmer might finally find a cure. And who are they going to follow that led them to this promised land? Viktor's ambitions to use Hextech for such a powerful transformation risk pushing him into a morally gray zone, where the line between healer and controller starts to blur. His drive to reshape the broken bodies of the Undercity could make him a savior in their eyes, but there is a thin line between salvation and domination, especially when the power he holds is not fully understood. So will Jace and Viktor be able to reconcile, or are they on a collision course? Let us know your thoughts on Viktor's journey and what you think Season 2 has in store for us. In the meantime, thank you all so much for tuning into another Geek video. I am so excited and hyped for Arcane Season 2, but make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe, and until next time, stay inspired, my friends, but maybe not as inspired as Viktor was. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!